What is the lifespan of a paddle? Is it 3 months, 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years? Well, the answer is, it depends. It really depends on how you play, how often you play, where you play, maybe even what type of ball you play with. Here are some of the signs to look for that may indicate your paddle is on its last legs. They are failing edge guard, chipped edges, smooth paddle face, cracked frame or face, delamination, or core crushing. Now, some of these issues are a bit more serious than others. Let's go over them. Failing edge guard. This is when the edge guard of your paddle is sort of peeling off or coming undone. The failing edge guard itself doesn't always equate to needing to replace your paddle. However, the issues that proceed after a failing edge guard might be more of an issue, which we will get into a little bit later. Failing edge guard is something that you could glue or put back together. If the edge guard is too warped and won't stay back on, then it might be time to replace your paddle. This is an issue that can be covered by your manufacturer warranty if you are still within the warranty window. So definitely check with customer service, and I guess that kind of goes for all these issues really. Next, we have chipped edges. This is an issue typically found on the edges of a paddle without an edge guard, but can also happen to other spots on a paddle. It usually occurs when you accidentally hit your paddle on the ground while playing and is a common occurrence over time with regular wear and tear. Most of the time, these chips really only affect the aesthetics of your paddle and doesn't hinder its performance. If you notice that the chips continue to move down towards the paddle face where a ball would be struck, then I would probably have a bit more concern, since that would definitely affect the performance of the paddle. However, this is usually a non-issue. You can put on some edge tape to help protect your paddle, and I would only consider replacing the paddle if the aesthetics are really bothering you. Now, something that could be bothersome and affect the performance of your paddle is the smoothening of your paddle face. Texture on the face will start to wear down and it won't feel as gritty when you receive your paddle fresh out of the box. This will happen eventually to all paddles after repeated use. The amount of time it takes for you to get there will vary from player to player and also depends on your frequency and level of play. Sometimes if you play with a really beat up ball with a lot of nicks on it, this could also wear down your paddle face a little quicker as well. I've seen players wear down the face as quickly as 1 to 2 months and have seen paddles last some players close to 6 to 8 months before they notice a drop off in performance. I would just run your hands on your paddle in an area that typically doesn't strike the ball and compare it to the areas that do make contact with the ball to compare how much grit you've lost. If it feels substantial and you can visibly feel or see a fall off in spin performance, it may be time to consider replacing your paddle then. Next thing to look for are cracks in your paddle face or frame. This can happen after you hit your paddle on the ground a little too hard accidentally and the force causes cracks. I would highly recommend you replace your paddle, not just because of performance, but since the structural integrity of your paddle may now be compromised. Last but not least is delamination and core crushing. Delamination is an all-encompassing term used to describe a few different issues that relate to the core and under layers of the face of your paddle. Typically, the layers of the face will become separated from each other, or it separates from the core itself. This is known as delamination or disbonding respectively. This can cause your paddle to make an odd sound and affect the feel of the paddle. This is more likely to happen if you have a faulty edge guard that has become loose like we talked about prior, or if the edges of your paddle are just badly damaged. Think of it like the exposed edges of a piece of fabric that isn't sealed or stitched off. If the face layers become exposed, delamination and disbonding are more likely to occur, much like how the fibers in fabric can start to become undone when exposed. Now, core crushing is when the core of your paddle no longer maintains its rigidity and compresses too much. It can be hard to tell when this happens, but you can sometimes tell if you press down hard enough on your paddle and either you hear a crunching sound or it gives in a little. I would definitely recommend replacing your paddle if you think it's delaminated, since the performance of the paddle will not be consistent. Taking care of your paddle is crucial for its durability. Store it in a suitable place, avoiding extreme temperatures. Watch out for signs of wear and tear as they indicate when it's time to get a new paddle. Alright, that wraps up this video. I hope you found this helpful. See you guys on the courts.